Who doesn't get hated on enough? As an actor.
You know, I hope I don't get canceled for this, but Jennifer Lawrence.
That's it. I'm out.
Welcome back to another episode of the Rough Cut Club. I am your host, Joey Nicotra, here today in the studio with a very, very special guest, perhaps the most special guest in my entire life. I have my beautiful puppy, Piper, with me today. And you know why I have Piper with me today? I'll tell you why I have Piper with me today. Piper's with me today because I am trying to sell a freaking house, and this dog is such a menace to society that I cannot show off the house without her being so unpleasant to a stranger that she had to just, spontaneously join me on the episode today. But I actually feel very at home.
Are you telling me that little dog
She's
is
a spitfire dog. She is an
Piper,
absolute
you would never
Look,
be
she's trying
like
to
that.
get down right now. I'm going to be wrangling her this whole episode.
Hey, I thought Piper was taking my job. I thought this was the episode you were getting me into the chair and you're like, hey, things haven't been working out. And you like kick me out the door, and then just Piper sitting in this chair.
Know, Piper could be a great podcast host. I think that she's going to get a lot of love on this episode. And so, if you're watching on YouTube,
smash the like button for Piper.
Smash that like button for Piper. Drop a little dog emoji in the episode comments.
There you go.
She's looking for food right now. She's kind of always hungry. So if you can watch this, you can see her looking around. There's no food here, dude.
She's looking at the cameras, looking at her lips.
That's right. Anyway, man, good to see you today. Stoked to do an episode. We got a fun little episode that we're planning to do today, just you and I. And so our podcast producer, Bella, she was like, you guys need to do an episode titled Hills I Will Die On. And I was like, you know what? I got some hills that I'll die on. They're unpopular. And I think you got a couple unpopular ones too. I actually don't know the answers to yours, so I'm excited to know what it is and why it is.
No cheating. Don't look at them.
No cheating. No cheating.
So if we're not wrestling on the floor, shirts off later by the end of this episode, then it's not a good episode.
Honestly, I think that should be the standard for all episodes moving forward.
That's true.
But,
shirts off on the carpet.
But the first question that I got for you is, what is the best action movie for you of all time?
Well, I already know yours because we talked about yours in an episode, but I want you to unpack it.
I'll unpack it.
Man, there is a movie, and I'm going to bet you haven't seen this movie because it probably was made before you were born.
Okay.
Heat. It's called Heat. It's made in 1995.
I'm going to show you something really quick.
Oh, if you've got the background,
no,
like the poster.
I'm not that cool, but I do have an app. It's called Letterboxd, and for all the movie lovers out there, this is an amazing app that you should get. I'll let you get back. I'm pulling a Kanye really quick, where I'm like, you know what, you had the greatest answer of all time, but what I have to say is more important. I'm just kidding.
Typical podcast host.
But
this is why I get called the co-host.
No. I just got to show you this, and I'll let you continue. But I have an app.
Okay, Kanye.
What's his name? Keelan calls me Joe Ye.
Joe Ye.
That's
his shirt right there.
Joe Ye. Anyway, it's somewhere on here. I swear it is. But Heat has been on my to watch list for so long, and just last night I was begging Sydney to let me watch it, and she's like, I'm not watching that movie.
All right, let me give you a little background.
I got it.
Here's why it's so good.
Okay, tell me.
I love bank robber, like dirty heist movies, 1990s, like all day. If I don't make one of those movies by the time I die, then we're not friends after I die.
All right.
So no afterlife friendship for us.
Dang, till death do us part.
Yeah. So so Michael Mann was the director in it. He did. Last of the Mohicans, bunch of great films, great storytelling. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, like some of the greats of that, action, dirty thriller type films. But I'm a realism guy. I love realism. Yeah. And so it's just grungy. It feels real. In fact, part of there's like this street shootout that happens, and the police, police departments were watching the shootout, because it was so realistic, they used it for training.
Dang.
That's how realistic this movie was, because Michael Mann like brought in specialists to be like, this is how you would control your gunfire. This is how you would move from position. I mean, that's the level of detail that went into this film.
Wow.
And bro, wait till you see it. It's got a little bit of everything. There's a little bit of romance and action, drama, good writing. And for what it is, 1995, dude, it is iconic, bro. So Heat is definitely my answer because of realism, and it's just badass 1990 action film.
You want to know something? One, I'm really sad that you were betting against me that I hadn't seen it, even though you were right, because that says you don't think that I value older movies.
No, I just you weren't born yet, so
that's fair. I'm a 95er, so. But Will Kaufman actually had that as one of his favorite movies too. Will Kaufman's he's a director friend of ours.
Yeah.
Been trying to get him on this episode, and eventually one day it'll happen. But he's a super dope director. But that's one of his favorite movies, and we were talking about it, and I was like, dude, I gotta watch it. And so one of these days, maybe on a plane ride when I'm by myself, I'll get a chance to watch Heat.
Yeah.
So maybe this week on the way to Vegas.
You're going to Vegas.
Going to Vegas.
Go
this
film
week,
Sonic, bro.
maybe,
You can queue it up if they have it.
If I have it.
Okay.
We'll report back.
I assume Arnold.
Yes.
I did not do the accent.
That was really bad. You can give
Arnold.
There you go. That's better.
Arnold is going to be a hill that you're going to die on. So
100%.
What's yours?
So yeah, Terminator 2 is the best action movie of all time. It's really a sci-fi film, but at the end of the day, it's still super action. But here's why I think it's amazing, and what's crazy is it would have been my favorite just because I'm biased, even if it wasn't actually the best. But I still think it's actually the best, and here's why. The CGI that they used, even back then, to this day, I think actually tops a lot of the CGI that they're outputting now. And this film was, I think it was 89, if I'm not mistaken, when the movie came out. But if you go back and look at like the liquid metal villain, like that CGI still surpasses most of what is output today from a realism standpoint, in my opinion. That's my opinion. It was also the first movie to ever surpass $100 million budget, which is a groundbreaking, like envelope pushing action film, standard almost nowadays. And they were the very first to ever do it.
Wow.
And that's back when $1 million went even further than it does today. You know what I mean? Like that was a significant amount of money in the late 80s. But even the storytelling with James Cameron in that film, I just still think today it's up there with, in my opinion, like Matrix level timelines. You know what I mean? It's not obviously that complex, but it's like all the, Judgment Day, Sent Back in Time, like it's very, it's just so good to me still.
It's got an epic feel, yeah, for sure.
And the action in that film is so iconic. Not to mention all the iconic language that was used that we still use today. And it's still like iconic, vocabulary in films. And
yeah, you're just crushing on Arnold.
I'm crushing, honestly.
Yeah, it is a great film.
It's a great film.
I want to go back and watch it just for the VFX stuff that you're saying, because it's been a while since I've seen it. I'm trying to remember. I'm like, weren't they using like practical back then? But you're saying
that's
liquid.
So that's the thing.
It couldn't have been practical.
Almost all of the actual stunts and action and explosions were practical.
Yeah, see, I love that.
Dude, so they were really blowing up buildings. They were really racing on the back of cars. They were really, kicking desks outside of freaking 10-story buildings. Like it was just a sick action film. But then they fused in a villain who was like half real, half like practical, and it still holds up today, dude. It's unbelievable what they did.
Yeah, something about the 80s and 90s, dude. It's beautiful what we can do. Both of these films, right? It's beautiful what we can do now with LED walls and just animation in general. But when you do it for real,
100%,
and I guess maybe the nostalgic factor of like just the gritty grunge of the 90s and 80s and growing up in that period, or like even looking back at those films. But there's something to be said when you do it for real.
I totally agree, man. And you know, if I ever get to the level where I'm doing action films of even a fraction of that caliber, like my MO is always going to be to do them in camera versus, you know, green screen,
let's
CGI.
Let's something up.
Let's blow stuff up.
Okay, I'm gonna tee up this next one for you, because I think this will be I think we might have to go into this a bit deeper. But what is an actor that everyone hates but you love?
I have the perfect 2 answers for this.
Oh, two answers.
Okay,
I gotta think about that too here.
And one was definitely, I think both were honestly much more hated probably a year, 2 years ago. Than they're both like slowly making a very slow ascension back to normalcy.
You loved them while they still weren't cool, though.
Yes. I think everybody loved them, then everybody hated them, and I never hated them. They made some mistakes, but I still like them. But honestly, I'm still a fan of Will Smith. You know, smack or no smack. I know everyone was like, he sucks. And honestly, he did suck in that moment.
Yeah.
But if you go back at his catalog, man, dude just has hit after hit after hit. And then put, what was it, Suicide Boys in there or something? Or Suicide Squad. Don't count that movie. That one was a flop. But then everything else, man, like everything he touches just turns to gold, man. And so
didn't he just roll out with Bad Boys like 25 or something?
Bad Boys 3, man.
Okay,
Bad Boys 3.
Yeah.
I think it's Bad Boys 3. Ride or Die, though.
Yeah, Ride or Die.
But then the other one, and I'm slightly biased to this too because everybody says that I look like him, but it's Shia LaBeouf. And dude, I just love.
Dude, I love Shia LaBeouf.
I love Shia LaBeouf, man. He's got such a way. Okay, he definitely, like, you know, was a very crappy human being for a long time, but he's in the middle of his redemption story right now. And I'm very pro seeing him win in life. But, man, when he gets on camera, and I always describe Shia like this. When he has to be passionate in a moment, he sells it to me better than almost any other actor out there, man. Like, he is just, when he's passionate about something, it's like I feel it in my bones when I watch him. And I just love when he does movies, and I'm just a fan, man.
I feel like sometimes when you have that trauma or like those things in your life and some of the things that he's gone through, I think you have somewhere deep to pull some of that passion and that drama in,
dude.
bro.
Totally.
Yeah, but I agree. I love Shy. Okay, I'm gonna try to pull 2. My 2 that I think of that probably I think people love. You either love or you hate these 2 actors. So I'd say Nick Cage. I feel like a lot of people hate on Nick Cage. And
a lot of people do hate on Nick Cage.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
And I think, and this is why I'm going to die on this hill, because it's like I like that he's kind of bad, you know. Like I like him for like I'm like he is what he's what you call a star actor, right? And my other actor's a star actor too, where it's like it's for their personality, it's for who they are. It's not really like all the different roles that they can play.
Yeah.
And Nick, if you watch this, bro, I think
Nick definitely watches the show.
I'll write you something, and you can do something that you've never done before. But Nick, dude, so I go back to The Rock. Did you watch the movie The Rock? It's again like another 90s. It's a action thriller. We're
not talking about Dwayne here. We're talking about
not Dwayne.
A different The Rock.
Before Dwayne. Yeah, this is so Nick Cage has to bust into Alcatraz, the prison that's off the California coastline. That's an island. If you've never heard of Alcatraz, look it up. It's really cool.
I definitely know what Alcatraz is.
Just making sure you were looking blank stare at me. I was like, wait a minute.
The same thing as Azkaban.
Yeah. So it's yes, they made it after that. So he has to get into the island, stop these nuclear missiles. Like the film is probably like, if you go back and watch it now, I'd be like, oh, I'm embarrassed that I just said I like The Rock.
Yeah.
Because if I remember, I've caught pieces. I'm like, oh, this is not good. but I watched it in a stage of my life when I was like really impressionable, and I was like, Navy SEALs are so cool. I want to be a Navy SEAL, CIA, agent. Oh, I want to make action films, and it was one of those ones. And there's like the iconic scene where he's like Nick Cage is like. He stops. Spoiler alert! If you're gonna watch The Rock, he stops like the nuclear missiles from being launched, and he's like, he has to take this, but he gets like the chemicals in him or something. He's got to take this syringe and jab it into his heart, and then push in like this adrenaline so he survives. So he does this, and then he's like got flares, and he's like standing out, like with his arms raised, and it's just this epic, moment. So watch that movie for Nick Cage. Probably the film overall is not that good now that I'm rethinking it, but that made me like love Nick Cage. And then like after that, all the things that he was in, I was like, it's like not great. Like Face Off was another good one. Face Off was
a classic. You know which Nick Cage movie I'm actually a big fan of is Con Air. You ever see Con Air?
Yeah, Con Air,
is
bro.
so good, dude.
See, I watched all the Nick Cage stuff. Oh, what I haven't seen yet
is the movie about Nick Cage.
Yes.
Nick Cage plays Nick Cage.
That needs to go on my list. I'm gonna watch that.
Put it on your letterbox
because it's literally like talking about what I'm talking about. It's like, hey, we're making fun, and he's down to make fun of himself.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's as cool as it gets. The other one I'll do real quick because we took too long on Nick Cage, but Bruce Willis, I feel like is the same, very similar. I feel like more people like Bruce Willis.
I don't know anybody that doesn't like Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I think again, a lot of people say, well, he can't act. Like he's just like that one star character. He's Die Hard, right? He's that guy. But in later years, he definitely he did flex and show a lot of different characters and compositions that he could play.
I really liked him in Sixth Sense. He totally not the action guy in that movie.
Right.
But I was like, man,
I feel like that, so and I could be wrong. Somebody fact check me, but I feel like him in that movie was kind of the start of him moving into stuff, just getting away from just the action.
Yeah, more the drama roles and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think I remember when that came out, everybody was like, Bruce Willis is in this.
Right.
This is gonna be weird, and you're like, oh, not really action based at all.
Yeah.
This is very interesting, and he did really good. So yeah, those are my two.
I like Bruce. So I don't know if people hate him, but I don't think you should if you do. Plus, you got to put some respect on his name right now because man's going through it,
dude. Yeah, dude.
So if anyone's hating on Bruce, I'm definitely hating on you.
Yeah, let's fight.
Yeah,
let's throw some bows. Okay, on the flip side of that coin, who doesn't get hated on enough? As an actor,
I hope I don't get canceled for this, but again, I got two answers for this. Jennifer Lawrence.
That's it. I'm out.
Jennifer Lawrence to me has a couple decent roles, but again, I know you may love her movies, but
J-Law.
Her as an actress to me is overrated.
Wait, I didn't do the.
Yeah,
I didn't do the right.
I'll give you another chance to get it again.
Still not right. Why can't I do it? Bella, help me out. Nobody's got love for me today.
Yeah, no. Honestly, Hunger Games was one of her better roles, and again, I thought the writing in that, from a concept standpoint, from an art department standpoint, and everything the directing in it was good, but man, she was the weakest part of that to me.
Did you watch what is the one?
She was great in X-Men.
Get out of here. Did you watch the one that she got, like, she won the Oscar for or was nominated? It was the Skeleton or Bone
Skeleton?
No, not Bone Collector. It's like this. It's this film, I think, set in Louisiana. Somebody help me out in the comments. I wish this episode was live. Somebody could help me out. But it's good, dude. It was pre Hunger Games and all that stuff. It was one of her first ones, and she won. I'm pretty sure she won.
It's not Skeleton Key, right? I haven't seen that one, but
that might be right.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Anyways,
I haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty fine. She does a really good job in that.
Well. Again, I'm not to say that she's never been decent, but I think she's overhyped and gets more love than she should. That's my hill that I'm dying on.
J-Law's name out of your mouth.
You're about to get smacked. Okay, I got one more, and this one I stand even more firm upon this hill. Chris Pratt.
Oh, dude. I'm gonna cancel you twice.
Here's my reason though. Here's my reason. I know everyone loves to love him. I liked him in Guardians of the Galaxy. I liked him in Jurassic World. Actually, those were my two that I'm like, all right, flowers, are due. He is not funny to me, bro. Like, he is the most try-hard comedian of all time, and his jokes flop for me, dude.
You watch Parks and Rec?
Horrible in Parks, bro.
Dude, but that's his character. He's supposed to be that.
I know, but it's not funny to me. It's like, dude.
Have you seen behind the scenes of
Probably
him running
not.
those scenes? Okay.
No. But, and again, it's like,
I
remember, like, one, he made like a pretty inappropriate Kim Kardashian joke on the behind the scenes. I don't know if you remember that one.
Oh, I don't know.
It's probably like we'd have to like change the ratings of this episode if I actually remade the joke. But he's had funny moments. I'm not saying he hasn't, but in general, I don't think he's a funny dude.
Yeah. Well, see, a lot of people are hating on it. He came out with his faith a lot more recently.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are hating on him. But I would say, which I think we both would commend him for that. But have you seen the action film that he's been in? The where they go take down Osama. It's
That's not Zero Dark
30. Yeah, Zero Dark 30. Okay. Yeah, did you see that?
I haven't yet. It's on my watch list too.
Dude. So this is another example of him being very serious. Like, I saw him in that. And I was like, dude, this guy is he's a goofball. I'm like, he's not going to be good in this. I was like, this is solid, bro.
And that's where I agree with you, because I think he is actually a better serious actor.
Yeah.
That's why I liked him in Jurassic World more, because he wasn't the funny guy. I mean, Guardians, he had a lot more like emotion filled roles, and I liked him in those serious roles more than the comedic space. But when he tries to be the funny guy, it is just not funny. I'll also say this: Ryan Reynolds' humor has gone downhill. I know he's hotter than ever right now. He just did Wolverine and Deadpool, but like, to me, his really funny moments. What's the one movie? Dang, I can't think of it right now.
The college, where he's in.
It's a Christmas film, and he used to be fat and then he got skinny. He was really fat and then he was skinny.
I don't remember that.
There's
no, but he's in a what is the college film that I'm thinking of? That one's.
I don't know, but
hilarious.
He had funny moments back in the day, but to me, it's like he played the same character for so long that it became unfunny.
Is Deadpool kind of I'll probably get hated on this, but I'm not a big Deadpool fan. Like, I watched I was like, oh, that was kind of cool and different, edgy, but now that they're doing it over and over again,
and that's the thing. I like the first one a lot, but 2 and 3 fell flat.
I kind of feel like it's sold out a little bit.
I'm not gonna lie,
but I like Ryan.
Yeah,
I like Ryan. All right, everybody's gonna cancel me for this one. Actually, I got 2. Go ahead and Keanu Reeves,
bro. That's actually a really good answer.
Yeah, because and don't get me wrong, I like Keanu.
He's a good dude.
Like, I've seen him in real. I hang out with him. I've seen him. I've seen him on Instagram, like in all of his like gun training and stuff. He's cool. Like, I'm like, dude, I want to kick it with this guy, but. He can't emote. He can't.
100%.
He's like, even in Matrix, like, and I love Matrix, and it worked in Matrix,
it did.
Right? It's supposed to be that way.
I know what you're saying.
But he kind of just like, in, what's the series that he just did? You know,
John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick. And again, like, I like the first one, but I was kind of like, he just has this very, like, stoic.
It's so stoic.
Who hurt you, bro?
Yeah. He's a very monotone, very stoic actor, and like great.
But he's a great human,
good
dude.
And he's had a lot of horrible things happen, and he's like blessed a ton of his cast members and crew members.
He's awesome, dude. Keanu, I would totally work with you. If you're watching.
Keanu's amazing. I got no hate to send his way, but I will say that from an actual, like, it goes back to like the Jennifer Lawrence thing. Like, she may be great, she's funny, she's cool. But is she a great actress? Is he a great actor? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think they caught some waves with their films and their timing. Because you don't really hear about J-Law as much anymore. And you don't hear, like, she kind of was a hot trend, and she's not anymore. And
well, and you know, it's like they have a role that they can play, but they're not like versatile. You know what I mean? Like they're not like these dynamic actors that can go Christian Bale and just really act. You know what I mean?
Memento, dude.
Yeah,
losing all
dude.
that weight, and it's insane. Okay, next one.
I think that was The Machinist, by the way.
You're right. It was Machinist. I was as I was moving on, I was like, oh, somebody's gonna call me out on that.
I'm calling you out. It's okay. You knew it.
But very similar. They lose a ton of weight in both of those films. But different guy.
Yeah.
All right, my next one is Clint Eastwood.
Dude.
And here's the thing. If we did like top 5 movies, like Good, Bad, and the Ugly is up there for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan. More so now that like everybody like loves him when he's doing these. What is it? The Gran
Torino.
Yeah.
Gran Torino.
Torino. Yeah. And like he did some other ones, and I can't stand him. They're really playing into like. You're like he's such a bad A. Like he's like this old dude, and I'm like. Bro, like just stop. Like he's a like I love his.
He's a legend.
Yeah, he's a legend in directing. Like I love like this thing I heard about him. You know, telling people like I believe it was him that was like somebody wanted another take, and he was like, why? So you can waste everybody else's time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like he's legit. He's a baddie, but. At the same time, I just like I think
he lacks range.
Stop, yeah.
He lacks range,
and we're trying, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's so good in Gran Torino," and I'm just like, that movie was awful. I did not like it.
Long-winded.
Yeah, and it's like don't play him like that. But then again, I'm like, good, get these senior actors some roles too, and I like it, but it didn't float my boat.
Yeah, and I mean, again, he's a legend, but I think it goes back down to range as an actor. Like he plays Clint himself so well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's an iconic role.
You feeling lucky, punk?
Yeah, bro, and like the eyebrows, like he can sell some eyebrows, but as far as range, you know what I'm saying? He can sell some eyebrows. That's a quote right there.
Yeah, that could be. I feel like that should be like a makeup, like our the Eastwood.
There you go, the Eastwood eyebrows. I dig it. What about directors, bro? You got a best director of all time?
Oh yeah, I got a lot that I love, but Stanley Kubrick, hands down. Stanley, if you just look at his filmography, his book of business, his artwork. It's so interesting to see all the different types of films that he made, right? But more so what I'll capitalize on right now is the things that I've read about him and watched about him, how he psychologically influenced his actors. He messed with people's heads, bro.
Yeah.
It takes directing to a next level to mind mess over people to get the emotions that you wanted. So imagine being on set and being a total jerk to like me being a total jerk to you all day because I want you to be pissed off. And then when I call for this, because I know you're going to do this scene where you're mad at the other character and I want you to take that anger out on me at that other character.
Yeah.
And so like, regardless, we're homies, we're brothers. And then I'm just like, I'm making you have the worst day ever.
Yeah. That's so
like that.
good.
That's insane, bro.
That's insane.
So he did that on The Shining. With Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
So he and his daughter were like taking photos, and like Jack was like trying to take a photo with him, and they're like, no, like get out of the way, like we're taking it, and he kept like avoiding him, and like he messed with Jack Nicholson's head the entire time through Shining, and he did that. He was notorious for that, and I mean, Kubrick had some mental health issues, down the road, and sadly ended life too soon. But just the so I fear him in a lot of ways, but I respect him in a lot of ways. There's things that I wouldn't want to do, but it did open my mind up to directing is more than just telling somebody what you want them to do, or even showing them what you want to do, which a lot of people say, don't show them, let them emote it themselves, but influencing their day and their psyche on set. That's next level directing.
I read something the other day, and they were talking about how if you really want to be a good director, there's a handful of things that you should study. And one of the interesting things on that list was human psychology. and you know, it seems like something that you could easily bypass, but I think that as a director you have an edge if you know human psychology and human behavior and how humans react and respond to things. Because so much of your job is communicating a performance, and if you can if you can really have a good understanding of human psychology, it can really give you the extra edge.
Communicating, but also listening. Listening and watching body language and social cues. And so, like, I'm no master, but like when I'm doing, and I do like a lot of interview, documentary, corporate stuff, I'm constantly trying to read their body language, trying to get them comfortable, trying to get them in a good spot. I'll make weird jokes, or I'll be uncomfortable to make the person comfortable, or to get them into the position that I need them to be in. Same thing when I try to get somebody emotional, like in a fundraising video. Like, I'm walking them through things and mirroring things that I want them to show, because I'm trying to get that emote. So that's why I always think it's probably hilarious. Like, there probably needs to be a BTS video. I always wonder what you guys are thinking when I'm sitting there and doing all of my, because I'm trying to mirror an emote. So I think communicating, being able to read the signs, and then influence as well, which is insane.
Well, and it's crazy too, even just in like the commercial space when you're doing interviews, and like as an interviewee, when you know like you need to make somebody cry for an interview to, like, you know, it's like just bring punch to a video, you know what I mean? Get people to open up their wallets and stuff like that. Like, there's so much psychological, like, influencing that you have to do to, like, provoke tears with how you question, how you listen, how you respond, all of that, your tone, how you're making eye contact with them, like, everything matters. And so, man, that's fascinating.
All right, who's yours?
You know what's funny? I was gonna say,
is it me? Thanks, buddy.
It's not you.
He said that so quick. He was out.
No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, you are one of my favorite directors.
Piper. Do you believe? Why are you so nice to him when he's so mean to me?
Piper directs most of my life, as she's here right now, controlling more of me than I would prefer.
We haven't forgot about you, Piper.
She gets in my psyche for sure. But you know what? I will say you are one of my favorite directors.
Oh, get out of here. Get out of here.
But
say it again.
But no, you don't get two. You get one. You don't get two. I was gonna say Christopher Nolan, and then I switched it. I was gonna say James Cameron, and then I switched it. And I know those are like the two most basic answers, but I will be honest, I am a fanboy of both of them for a reason.
It's totally fine.
They're in my top three.
They're amazing.
You want to know who I really, and again, James Cameron, he's the GOAT. But you want to know who I really rock with and I really love is M. Night Shyamalan.
Whoa, this is gonna be unpopular.
I just think he is a phenomenal director, bro. I really think he's amazing.
I'll join your fanboy club because I actually like him. And in every film discussion I've had with people, they're like, he's terrible. I
like him. And you know, when you go back and look at some of his earlier movies, like The Sixth Sense, Signs, you know what I mean? Some of these movies, even Unbreakable and stuff like that, like, he did not have a massive budget, but what he did was like groundbreaking storytelling. You know what I mean? And he is a storyteller through and through. He doesn't need a budget to do it. You look at like The Village, you know, even like the Split, dude, like the one, like some of the stuff that he's done, like they're not, so much of his budget goes to like actors and a handful of VFX, you know what I mean? But it's just raw storytelling, and he's always got like the coolest messages in his films, you know what I mean? With like the Swing Away, Meryl, you know what I mean? Swing Away, like that's so good. Like you go back to Signs and like there's the water that's all over the house from like the little girl and
little
like,
Easter eggs.
Yeah. And like, you know, just like all these messages that are like, they just move me, man. When I watch his films move me. Yeah. Like I feel like a lot of them actually change. Dude, are you gonna chill out, bro? I feel like a lot of them just they make me want to change the way that I think and live in real life. You know what I mean? And I think it's just such a sick thing that he cameos like all of his films, and like he's an artist. To me, he is. He hasn't done the most groundbreaking like films like Nolan and Cameron, but I rock with him as a director super hard.
Yeah, he's a storyteller, man. It's kind of one of it's like, I don't want to call it like bedtime stories, but it's a book, It's something that you can crack open and you're like, wow, I went through a very well thought out, and there was all this messaging and meaning throughout the entire time, and I should be expecting that.
And I feel like Nolan and Cameron have both had films that I've been like, about, you know what I mean? But dude, are we gonna chill out? Are we gonna chill out? Hey, calm down.
Just for people listening to the audio version, he's not telling me that. He's telling Piper. Although we could take our shirts off and fight.
We could. Piper's ready to throw.
Piper, you want to come sit over here?
Hey, can we calm down, please?
She says, hey, this episode's over, bros.
Yeah, she's like, you guys gotta let me go and feed me. I feel like M. Night hasn't had a movie that I've really disliked, and I feel like the other directors have.
I haven't watched a lot of M. Night's recent stuff.
You gotta go through his discography.
Yeah, I need to see the more recent things.
His most recent ones to me are not his prime work, but they're still like really interesting stories, like old.
Did you like Unbreakable?
I did like Unbreakable.
Yeah.
I did. I will say I liked Split the most of the trilogy.
See, I haven't seen Split.
Have you seen Glass?
No.
See, dude, it's part of a trilogy.
See,
and
I stopped after Unbreakable.
But see, that was 20 years ago. That's the craziest part about it, is that he started a trilogy over 20 years ago and then picked it back up and then did episodes 2 and 3 back to back. And I'm like, that's unheard of. But like, I don't know. I haven't gone like into the rabbit hole of why that happened, but he finished what he set out to do, and I respect that. He finished his trilogy. And dude, you got to watch Split. Split to me is like the best of the trilogy for sure.
All right, I got some movies to add on my list.
Kirsten will like that one too. Y'all will both. That would be a good movie night for y'all.
Nice. All right.
So
cool.
Yeah, dog. Last one for you. Is there a specific shot or technique that needs to stop being used in film?
Man, let's rapid fire this because I feel like there's a lot.
Hit me with it.
Dude, you know what? I mean, I think a lot of people agree with me. Slow motion is just overdone. Like, we need to, and I'm thinking like, I guess this is more like, corporate, commercial, wedding films. I guess films too. I like 24 frames. I like a little choppy. I like a little faster pace now. I feel like slow motion, definitely on the wedding side, on the corporate video, like do better. Like just get better shots, pack more in there. Like you don't always have to have slow motion to, I don't know. I feel like it's overdone and it's old. We need something new. Not that you can't use it. Like I think there's important places for slow motion, but I'd be super intentional with slow motion. And if anything, speed ramp your slow motion, right? Like have fast to slow, slow to fast, up and down, anything like that. So that's a big one for me.
Hey, who hurt you with slow motion?
I don't know. You know what? I think I hurt myself. When I went back and looked at some of my edits, and I'm like, is every shot, why did I choose to do everything in slow motion? So I hurt myself. I think I looked at it and I go, that's that. And I will say that sometimes newer editors will lean heavy on it. I think it's a crutch, right? I think it's oh, this is cool because not everybody can do slow motion. And so I'm just going to pack it with slow motion. And it fills so much time where I'm like, give me more. Like, keep me hooked, engaged. Like, I think because everything comes at you so fast. We're looking at 15-second reels. We're making 3-second ads. Like, I don't have time for a slow motion shot. So I'm looking for faster paced content and being more intentional. Like, let me want more. Like, let me be like, oh, I wish that was in slow motion so I could see it. So I'm going to watch it again and again and again because I want to see that half-a-second clip that I wish was in slow motion. So I don't know. Maybe it's unpopular, but maybe I shouldn't go into my other ones because I've hogged it. But slow motion, bro.
I think
your turn.
I like what you had to say about it. I think that slow motion has a place in film, but I do agree that people lean on it heavily as a crutch, and it gets overused and overdone. I wouldn't eliminate it from my tool belt, but I do think that it is more heavily used than it should be.
Reduce. Yeah, I'd say it doesn't need to go away.
Yeah.
Just reduce.
I like that. I think transitions are overrated, and I'll explain. I think that it got really popular with like Sam Colder and like Rory Kramer and some of these like Matt Como, these YouTube giants like five years ago, and they're still huge, but like 5 years ago it got really big, that their transitions were so sick that the industry wanted to create like drag and drop transitions that like imitated their style, and everything got real drag and droppy. You know what I mean? Like the world flips and like the speed ramp in out of this shot into the next one, and like all these shots that were they just weren't actually like what these creative giants were doing. They were trying to make like a Walmart brand version of what they were doing, and to me they fell flat, and they got used by the entire industry. And not only that, but the entire industry online started making like presets and packs of like 100 transitions, and you know, buy my kit, and like then it exploded up like the e-commerce market for filmmakers, and I think it cheapens film products at the end of the day. I think that when you're doing a video and you put a drag and drop transition onto a film, a lot of times it, like the slow motion thing, if done correctly, is great. There's time and a place, but I think the manual transitions that are like you thought through this shot and how it leans into or how it bleeds into the next shot. You know what I mean? Like that's when transitions really work well, but you have to manually execute on them, and you can't just like drop a preset on them.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion.
I just like the everything got really drag and droppy. I feel like that should be a shirt for
drag and
us
droppy
older people that are aging and transitions and video.
I love it.
Man, I agree. I feel like, so transitions, I remember when I got out of film school, like transitions were hot, then it was not. Then they were super hot, like you're saying, like and there's packs and all this stuff. And I think even the slow-mo, I think it is waves and trends.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to differentiate yourself. And so when everybody's doing these like how can you do elevated transitions? We even went through that. You and I, like 2 or 3 years ago, we're like, dude, we gotta figure out how to elevate our transitions and our social content. And then I think then we're like, dude, everybody's got this, and like, yes, we can do it differently, but then does it feel cheap? Is it just all transitions?
Right.
Is it no? There's not really, the content doesn't matter as much as like how I'm going to take you in and out of this stuff. So yeah, I love getting back to just like object cut, image cuts, hard cuts. I mean, I think maybe with both of those, story gets forgotten, and you got to go keep story primary. And if the transition or the slow motion makes sense for the story, use it.
100%. And I think there's a place for them. I just think that my favorite ones are not the drag and drop ones. They're the well thought out ones. And that's, that's
drag and droppy.
Drag and droppy, not for Joey. Didn't rhyme, but that's what we're going with. Well, that was good, man. Dude, I like hearing some of your answers. I think some of them are wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Dude, it's good, man. Yeah, there's definitely opinions that I don't expect everyone listening to resonate with, and to be honest, that's okay. These are my hills. You have your own, and
send the hate mail.
Send the hate mail, bro. Send it to Shane. His address is Princeton. But yeah, you can get his primary address if you holler at the DMs. But man, before we go, we introduced a new thing 2 weeks ago now, I think at this point. Little game called Pop a Question. And so before we get out of here, wanted to bring this into little we can play.
Are we gonna do it together?
I think we should do it together.
All right.
And I think if
I'll set the clock.
We got a minute, you can pop a question, I'll pop a question, and that way we can be
okay. We'll see how many we can get through.
Pop a question.
All right.
So
pop a question. Okay, 60 seconds on the clock. Hopefully it dings, because I'll just check it every once in a while. I got my phone on Do Not Disturb. Here we go. You first and start.
All right. Final Cut or Adobe Premiere? That's Adobe Premiere for me.
Final for me, bro. That would have been easy. Oh, that's okay. It took me 10 seconds to pull it. What cinematic universe would you live in? 300.
Ooh, that's pretty good. Do I got to answer too?
Yeah. Go for it.
I'm gonna go The Matrix. Daylight or night shoots? Daylight. I hate night shoots, although the images look pretty good.
I don't know. Yeah,
Daylight.
that's tough.
I don't like going
Daylight.
into the night.
One movie you would sell your soul to remake? Ooh. Saving Private Ryan?
It's pretty good. Mine might actually be The Fall Guy, dude. I watched that recently, and that one looks like a super fun movie to make.
I need to see it.
Who would you love to collaborate with? Gonna have to go with M. Night on that one, bro.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm like, bro,
I can't
put
say
me in,
Kubrick.
Coach.
He's not around anymore.
No, you can't. That
I'm
was
gonna say
actually
Joey.
too soon forever.
Yeah,
that
was
nice.
dark. Last movie you watched? Some documentary on Netflix. I don't even remember. That's it. I knew I was out of time. I was trying to remember what movie. You know what? All Is Quiet on the Western Front.
That was the last one?
That's how long it's been since I watched movies. And my daughter was like, she couldn't speak at that point. She's like 2 now.
Yeah.
And that's why I watched it, because I was like, you don't understand these people are killing each other, right? So that was my last like full blown legit movie. I watch a ton of documentary stuff, but I won't count that.
That's fair.
What about you?
Last movie I watched, this is a really difficult question because I just can't remember.
Yeah.
I started a bunch of movies and I've turned them off because I've been disappointed. Does that count?
Yeah, sure.
I started First Man. I don't know if you
Well, you said you just watched The Fall Guy.
I did watch that one recently. That was probably like 3 or 4 movies ago.
Yeah.
But
I've heard really good things. Is it good?
Fall Guy, I loved it.
Everybody won't stop shutting up about that.
I loved it. Honestly, The Fall Guy to me was one of my favorite films I've watched in a long time. I don't actually okay, this is another unpopular opinion by me. I don't like satires. I don't like them. I just don't like them. And Fall Guy was absolutely satirical, and me and Cece argued over this. She says it wasn't. I say it is a satire all day long. But I love this film, bro. It was epic action in the film. Like Ryan Gosling was hilarious to me, and the story was great. It was it wasn't like a earth-breaking story, but there's like so many good, like just creative moments in the film. Like they bring like this unicorn into a hotel, and it's like, okay, this is like they really did this. They really brought a horse into a hotel. And I'm just like looking at the production value that they brought to it, and dude, it's a must watch for sure.
Yeah, I gotta check it out. Their marketing, their P&A on it was insane, dude. I was watching the stuff, and they actually did a bunch of stunts in real life.
Yeah, dude, all the stunts in that are like real, and they crushed it.
Well, they were doing like press kits, press release, all the red carpets, and they were like still doing these stunts. And I was just like, dude, you spent some money on P&A.
Dude, yeah, it was
above and beyond. It's some creative marketing.
Dude, it was just a creative film in general that was like all about the movie industry, and it was but it was also a comedy and a satire and an action film, and it was done with excellence in my opinion.
I'll add it to my Letterboxd.
Yeah, gotta get Letterboxd. Can we get Letterboxd to sponsor the show? That would be really rad, actually. Yeah. That's gonna be one of the new 2025 initiatives.
There you go.
So anyway, man, dude, enjoyed this episode, enjoyed Hills That You'll Die On, and hope you listen to Hills That I'll Die On. And this dog has been absolutely awful this whole episode.
Oh, Piper, don't listen to him.
But you're beautiful and we love you. And so we're going to say thanks for joining us on this episode of the Rough Cut Club. We'll see you next time.
Piper signing off.
Piper's signing off. Peace. And that's a wrap for today's episode. If you're still here, you're either obsessed with filmmaking or love hearing us talk. And honestly, we're cool with both. So thanks for tuning in and being a part of our Rough Cut community.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow us on our socials and subscribe so you never miss out on future content. And if you have a moment, we'd love for you to leave us a review. It's kind of like giving us an Oscar, but helps us reach even more awesome listeners like you.
And remember to join our Patreon for an exclusive backstage pass to our community, discounts on club merch, and even more ways to get involved with the show. Lastly, if you have thoughts, questions, or ideas for future episodes, we'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, stay curious
and keep creating.